Hi, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Cast Huff Psychic Medium show, recording in Tacoma, Washington. For appointments, call 253-503-6816 and visit casthuff.com. Information is from Spirit and is from a spiritual medium and is for entertainment purposes only. This and all recordings and information I provide are copyright protected by law and the property of Cast Huff. Welcome, everybody. Today is January 22nd, 2019. Happy day after the January 21st full moon, super wolf red blood moon in the first degree of Leo with a total lunar eclipse. So here we are. This is a very interesting time. This eclipse is all about resetting your emotions. Think of the moon as a relative. You know, one of your oldest elders, your ancestors that has been here eons. Eons. It's been here forever. And so it shines through all night long for you. It's always present, even when we can't see it. And it lights the path for you. It lights the way for you. But sometimes it has something for you to learn or see. And so it blocks itself from you so you can see what you need to see. It will never stop lighting the way for you. But it sometimes needs you to see the light for yourself. What an amazing experience. Now, this full moon is really about allowing yourself to release the old emotions, get yourself, ready for an amazing 2019 and getting you grounded and, able to clearly feel and see your way and navigate, give yourself some direction. And so this is an important time for your internal value system as you have been blocked for just a few minutes of that lunar healing light to be able to go deep within and go, okay, what was I hanging on to? What was actually driving the show? What was keeping me stuck or stagnant? What would help me to let go of or release? And so very important to remember also the astrology sign that you are can play a big role in how well you do with the full moon, whether, it's this full moon or any full moon. So for instance, in astrology, the Leo, Virgo, Libra, Sagittarius, Aries, Gemini, and Cancer, that's a lot of signs, all get along pretty good with Leo. Okay, so you may have had a really powerful, if you're one of those signs, you may have had a very powerful or positive flow of energy with this full moon, pushing you, helping you, allowing you to move through and, let go of resistance and experience the fullness. So for some people, you may have experienced just a wonderful boost of energy towards any project you're working on, towards a relationship goal, whatever's going on there. So if you are a Scorpio or Aquarius, you may have had a difficult full moon or been prone to have a little more difficulty getting along with this relative that we call the moon. And so it's about looking at your relationship, okay, with the moon. And if you're a Capricorn or Pisces, you may have experienced even more difficulty or turbulence with this moon. Watch out for getting too overly emotional or, holding on to too much resistance. So this is a great time to look at your relationships. And, when we can't see something and we're kind of navigating from what we feel and you're reaching to have a great relationship, this is all about coming to the place of the heart, of listening to your heart, listening to what's needed for a good relationship, and respecting other people and having self-respect for yourself. So we're coming into February. the month of love. We have a lot of new relationships out there forming, and, old relationships rekindling. And so as we come into this February 2019, we're getting close to it. This is a time of really making sure that your relationships are not contingent on something, that you're not bargaining yourself in order to have that good relationship, that it's not, you're not lowering your standards or saying, I have to do this in order to have this. So this is about being free to experience true love, true relationships, and listening to your heart and being at peace. So a wonderful full moon getting us ready for the time of February of love and heartfelt relationships, experiencing that peace and the patience required to get along with those you love, to find the way to communicate. Maybe it's time to find a new way to communicate. And so looking at each relationship and asking, what is it requiring of me? Maybe there's something I'm not seeing. And take that internal look at your relationships. So wonderful, full moon to help us get ready for deeper love relationships and lasting. I mean, lasting. This Leo, the red blood moon we just had yesterday and total lunar eclipse, we will not have another moon like that for 18 years. Okay, we won't have that again for 18 years. And so this is about being an integral, insightful person to see what's needed for you to have lasting relationships. I mean, turn the mirror around, look at yourself, look at the mirror and go, what's going on inside of me? Can I hold this long-lasting love? Can I have this long-lasting love affair with myself and share it with other people? What's needed for that? And so wonderful time resetting your boundaries if you need to, your emotions if you need to, and letting yourself have positive thought processes about yourself. Give yourself a good review. Look at yourself and go, wonderful, what's going right now? That's going to really help you to have streamline your positive energy and have better focus on your life and look for fluid, flowing energies that are flowing in it. And you may find that it's, how can I say, less is more. You're going to focus on what's working. And right now, with this creative time we're coming into, for several years, we've been energetically downsizing to what's most important in your life. And so what is flowing, what is positive, may be a very simple thing right in front of you. So pay attention to where that energy is flowing, and that is guiding you and allow your attention to go there and see what you need to continue to expand positively. Pay attention to what's really working in your life. So we have a listener to the show who sent in a question, and I'm going to actually pray out loud just so you all listeners out there hear what I'm going to do. I'm asking Archangel Michael to guide the airwaves, to protect the system I'm using right now, the podcast show, because the minute I started doing this is my second attempt today, I actually had my phone malfunction as I was asking this question. So I think it's absolutely not a coincidence what I'm about to say. Okay, so she asked me, first, I'd love to say I love the podcast show, and I look forward to it every Tuesday. Thank you, Henna. We love you as a listener. She asks, do those who've crossed over hold on to their opinions and beliefs? And she goes on to say, I've wanted to hear from someone close to me who crossed over quite a few years ago, but am concerned the reason they won't step forward for a medium is because they were very religious and thought it was wrong to attempt to contact the other side. Could that be why they won't step forward or give me any signs? If so, does this mean they never will? Well, I'm going to suggest a book for you, Hannah, called The Afterlife of Billy Fingers. This is a wonderful book, and I'll tell you why I'm suggesting this book. Because many readings I've done, I've seen the healing chambers in heaven. And this book accurately describes what I've never seen written in a book before. And it's just wonderful because the woman wrote the book without her brother passed away, and she wanted to, her psychic gifts started developing through her connection with him. She's clairaudient, she could hear him. And so she just started asking him her questions about heaven. And he was a bad boy in life. So the book is called, The Afterlife of Billy Fingers, My Bad Boy Brother. Well, when he crossed over to heaven, and when he really crossed over, he described to her how wonderful it was. And so this book has some descriptions in it of what he told his sister heaven was like. And for anybody out there who's listening who's lost someone, I really recommend this book. And it's just a wonderful, interesting, and from my experience, from what I experienced from doing channeling, it seems very accurate. So what I can tell you is that the thing here, do they hold on to their opinions and their beliefs? They don't hold on to their mental opinions or beliefs, because the mind is the human form. Okay? When we release our physical body, we let go of our mind. Okay? And that's why a lot of people, in fact, books, spiritual gurus, teachers, I could go on and on and on listing names to you of people who've written about how important it is to release the mind, the ego, the thoughts, the beliefs, all of what you're saying here about the opinions and the beliefs. That is something that once we cross the veil, releases. They still have some personality. If they're funny, they might, they'll come through funny. If there's some inherent traits that stay. But those are traits that are, how can we say, not opinion-based. It's more like if somebody's naturally humble, they'll be humble. If somebody's naturally happy or giggly, they'll come across a little more happy or giggly. They'll show you visions of the way they were in life, their opinions and their beliefs, but they're not holding on to those opinions and beliefs any longer. Now, the question here is, when someone, or how can I say the identifying factor, is the difference between, there's a difference between dying and crossing the veil. Because when you pass away, you have an opportunity for light. You can go poof, right off into heaven. You can go right away. Some people, for some reason or for whatever reason, choose to not go right away. And it can be, maybe they are afraid to go. Maybe they are, somebody's grieving so hard that they feel they shouldn't go. But after they do go, all those opinions and beliefs, the cords to pain, the cords to resentment, the cords to sorrow and sadness, all of that is earthbound stuff, and it lets go. So when somebody says, the person died, they let go of all their pain, well, in my experience, it's not until they've crossed over that they let go of all that pain. And a lot of times, they let go of most of it when they die, though. Okay, when they die, they let go of most of it. But, I've been to haunted houses where the main entity that was haunting the house, or main person that was haunting the house, it was someone who chose to stay around for whatever reason, to protect somebody, to guard over the land, territorial dispute that they just can't let go of. In one case, it was a man who was mentally ill, and he was enraged by what had happened to his people. In another case, it was a woman who committed suicide, and she couldn't let go because her daughter was still living. And so for whatever reason, sometimes people don't cross completely over. They can partly cross over, or, it's like they tap into the light, but they don't stay there. Okay, sometimes it's the ones that cross over all the way that release their opinions and their beliefs. So when I started to do the podcast the first time, it was interesting. When I got to your question, my phone completely malfunctioned, and I felt a spirit in the room. And I said, okay, so... And then I was literally getting to the point of reading how you were wondering if the spirit didn't want to come through to you, basically. And so this energy feels like it just would have some trouble, or what I would say judgment. And I feel the word bear is coming through. I don't know why, but I see the word bear, like a bear medicine or bear. And then I'm also seeing a very strong older male. Okay. I don't know, I can't tell exactly. I mean, I'm getting a vision of a bear, and then I'm seeing an older male. And I'm feeling that there are multiple spirits around you that don't want to cross over. Okay. And so, this particular spirit feels like it has been gone a long time, but doesn't really want to go anywhere. And it doesn't want to, be told what to do. I have to appreciate that. None of us want to be told what to do. And so I would ask you, did this person actually have so many opinions and beliefs that they were blocking themselves energetically? Because opinions and beliefs are from the egoic mind. And this spirit that you're asking to step forward, I get that it does want to come forward, but needs healing. I feel like life didn't necessarily, I feel like this person wanted more time and wasn't ready to go when they did. And so I get for you, I would recommend that you do a couple of things. I would recommend that you pray for this person for 3 days. And for 3 days, you say, thank you, Creator, for helping to clear what's blocking me from connecting, first of all. And then I would recommend that in the same way, you say that prayer for your loved one. If there's anything that's blocking this person from connecting, and we're talking about the supernatural here, there's things that, there's no way we can possibly know everything of what's going on with this person. But I get instantly that they're trying to show you signs. They want to show you signs. But it's a deep sadness that they can't be here for you. Okay. And now I'm beginning to see a female. Okay. And I'm beginning to feel a female coming forward. And I get a younger female, not you, that held her accountable or held her to something. Okay. So I'm seeing that I'm picking up a woman. And so she's got a man around her also, and a younger woman who's living, but not you. Okay? And I get that she's here for you, and she wants to come through for you. And she loves you very, very much. And so I would say, is there a lot of pain and sadness on your end too? Okay, so this is about the ability to experience the clearings that are needed on both ends. I would recommend that you do a 3-day ceremony, burn a white candle, and just ask that whatever, and I wouldn't limit it, to what we think or what we don't think. I would literally turn it over to God 100% in this particular case. And I would say, I ask to clear whatever needs to clear, what we know and what we don't know. And just really get out of the mind or mental part of it and say, okay, Creator, if I'm blocking it, if my grief is blocking this relationship, let it go. If this person held on to so many beliefs and judgments that they didn't allow themselves to completely cross over, which would be surprising based on the deep religious feeling that you're telling me this person had. But it's not unheard of. It's absolutely not unheard of for someone to stay behind for their family or for whatever reason. So I would do a 3-day ceremony to express your desire to the divine. Ask Creator directly for the clearing that you're looking for. And I wouldn't put a stipulation on it so that you can connect, that kind of thing. But rise above it and go into the place of, I just want to make sure I've done my job to clear the grief necessary to be able to connect, to clear the cords from the earth pain with my ancestor. That's, the person you're wanting to connect to. If that person is still holding a cord or someone's holding a cord, you can pray for them. That is a wonderful thing to do. And the divine can miraculously hear you and release cords and release pain and release whatever needs to be released. Put your faith in Creator. Okay? And try not to dictate what needs to happen there, because it's the mind that'll block us. It's the mind that'll block us. Okay? So one of the reasons somebody won't step forward is because of your pain. I've known a lot of times where spirit was local, or how can I say, I could have a client in my office and I can see a spirit standing next to them, but they don't want to come forward or come too close because they don't want to cause their loved one to cry, break down, all of that. Okay. And that would be a spirit that hasn't crossed all the way over, what I call 1 foot here, 1 foot in heaven. The spirits who've crossed over all the way usually come right through for you. Okay. The ones that are, available, if they're off doing something else, and that's possible too. They could be off learning something, doing something. Most often, though, you ask for help and assistance, you're going to get it. I mean, you ask for it, it's going to come through. When I'm doing mediumship readings, sometimes it always, there's no way for me to know who's for sure going to come through. But it's always interesting when somebody calls upon somebody and then 3 different people come through that wanted to come through. It's like you open the door and Creator brings what you need to hear most, not necessarily what you want to hear. And so that often can be also a block in a reading where you're just going, but I want this so badly. I want to hear this message, or I want to have this. And you only have that short amount of time to get those messages. And what they bring through is actually what's more important for you. Now, I can't possibly understand why or how that happens. I just know that on occasion it does happen that way. Okay. And then the prayer that I have people say is, my grief is the amount of my love. And the reason I have, I was guided years ago to when I work with people, to say that, because it's true. Someone could be, crossed over completely and available, but yet that pain, it's like a swelling of the grief swells into your aura. And it can, if anybody's experienced deep grief, they know what I'm talking about. It blocks everything out for a short while you're going through it. And so the other thing that I would say, this feels so important to you. I have a memory that came to me as I was reading your question. Okay, I had this woman come to me, and she said to me that she had been to medium after medium after medium for 20 years. And not one person had ever said to her, and she was looking for a message from one spirit who passed away. And she walked into my office, and it was a very short amount of time, 3 or 4 minutes. I connected with her, and I brought him through. And I gave her a message, and she about fell out of her seat. Well, I didn't know, obviously, that she'd been trying to get a message for 20 years. Do I think I'm the greatest medium that ever lived? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Do I feel that it was timing for her? Absolutely. I do not know why he chose to speak to me. I do not know why he chose to speak in that time. I have no way to possibly know that. But I do feel that it was so moving for her, and it was so important for her when she finally did get that message, that it was pivotal for her. She was able to move forward on a certain aspect in her life. So, Creator is ultimately in charge. Trust that you're going to hear the message you're meant to hear, and you're going to receive it from the person you're meant to hear it from. So your job is to stay open, and anybody out there listening is to stay open to when you're meant to, or if you're meant to, receive a reading. And it's not something you just do randomly. It's something you're called to do if you're called to do it. Not everybody's called to do it. They may get the message themselves through a dream, a vision, going to church. They may get it by going to a walk, out on take a long walk, and all of a sudden you feel like you're hearing birds, and then you're hearing your ancestor. We often hear messages from our loved ones and assume it's our own mind. It's that practice of skill of discernment, discovering where that thought form is coming from. Is it coming from myself? Is it coming from somewhere else? And that takes a lot of meditation and practice to use that discernment at that level. So what I would say to you is don't give up. Continue to have faith that Creator will bring you the message you need to hear when you need to hear it. And know, you will be, as long as you're listening, you will be guided to the right place. You will be guided at the right time. And pray for your ancestor, pray for your loved one that passed away, that whatever is the block, whether it's on your end or their end, just ask Creator to help release what needs to be released. Sometimes it's not them. It could be someone that loves them. Not, as in this case, I was seeing a vision of a younger woman. And so sometimes people can be so absolutely grief-stricken. They don't realize they're doing it, but they're pulling on their loved one to stay with them. That's not uncommon. We're human. We love each other, especially in the case of family, a mate, a best friend, and so it's hard for us to let go, and it's hard for them until they cross over, up until that point. It's hard to get to that, death point for most people, and then, the good death, being able to release, let go, say your goodbyes, and realize we're always alive and alive. And the thing is, I always say 3 days, and the reason I say that is because I invite the ancestor, at least for me personally, the ceremony I do is suggesting that we pray for them for 3 days, and then at the end of that 3-day period, I always tell my personal ancestors have crossed over, I say, you know what? You need to stay in heaven for 3 whole days, and then once you've completely released all your pain, your sadness, all of that, done your own walk, please, by all means, come and be with me. But that 3-day period, believe it or not, is more for me than it is for them. It's me to let go. It's me realizing I have to do my own work. It's me acknowledging the grief and the sadness and the sadness of that and the loss of that person with me. So I hope that's helpful to you. Hope I did a good job answering your question. And do they hold on to their opinions and their beliefs? Absolutely not. For the most part, from what I know, and we won't know until we get there ourselves one day, but they become released of pain. So you would look, was that opinion based on an earthbound, or was it based on something they learned before they ever came to earth, when they were in heaven? Was that belief based on something they learned while they were here? And is it in the mind? Then that's going to go too. So, and that's a big part of where we are in the universal consciousness, is releasing our mental thought forms that don't serve us, and being able to stay open in the heart realm, being able to stay open with each other, to communicate, and to breathe, and not bounce our fears and pains back and forth on each other, but to come from a place of release of all those fears and pains, and being in a place to experience sending positivity back and forth and creating a positive environment. And so here we are. Well, I hope you all out there are having a wonderful winter. It's raining where I am, and I'm enjoying hearing the sound of the rain hitting the window. And I hope you all are experiencing a wonderful rest of the month of January, and getting ready for a divine relationship month in February. Have a wonderful rest of the day. May you be filled with divine love and light, and hope and faith for whatever you need. Thank you so much. Take care. This is Cass Huff signing off.